Hi and welcome back to another video. This is only my third setup of the year. The last setup I had to be curtailed a little bit early thanks to the constant abuse of my equipment by the local sheep. This time I'm setting up down next to the river, and as you know, this can carry its own risks to the equipment, as I soon found out later in the video. Okay, just experienced the dangers of working near water. Camera's housings just fell into the river and I didn't have it closed properly. There's a little bit of water got in the housing. Who'd be a wildlife photographer, eh? Oh dear. I'm gonna have to get all the inside of the housing dried out, and some on the lid there as well. I'll get the foam out and try and dry it off a little bit. Oh well, that's the hazards of working near water, I suppose. Right, hopefully that's it. I have to say that's been one of the most challenging setups I've ever had to put together, I think. Had a mishap with the tripod falling in the water with the housing, and the housing wasn't, I hadn't switched the housing, closed the housing properly, so I got some water into the housing, but I've dried it out as best I can. I've taken the foam out. I've dried what I can out of there, and I've just put the camera in the bare box. And it is water. It's supposed to be water. Well, it is waterproof when you seal it. You know, when you close it properly. But anyway, there's the setup. I've got the camera just down here in a risky old spot. I just hope the weatherman's got his forecast right this weekend, because it's pretty vulnerable over there. If we get a storm up in the hills, that might not be there when I come back next week. I've got a main flash up under the bank, tucked up under the bank. I don't think you'll be able to see it on there, and I've got a fill flash. Where are we? Just over here. Oh, and this is what I'm hoping for. Like I say, I've seen Pine Martin come in, and he's jumped across onto the rock over there and carried on his way. And then a couple of nights before, it crossed over by here. The river was a little bit lower, but I'm hoping if he does appear again, he'll come onto this rock and hop over onto the main rock. And the ideal scenario in a dream world would be to get one of him in mid-air, but you know, chances of that happening pretty slim. The chances of him turning up are pretty low, to be honest. He's been around once or twice. I have caught him on my other trail cameras in the area, but there's no pattern or rhythm to him at all. It'll appear for a couple of nights in front of your trail camera, then you won't see it then for a few months. And so anyway, the other thing I'm hoping for, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for, is the otter. The otters have been through. There's been a pair of otters, and a few weeks ago on this rock where I'm trying to get the images, there was a load of otter sprint on top of the rock here, and it was full of frog bones. They've obviously been up here hunting out the frogs and the toads, and there was a load of frog bones on top of there. So, and I have caught it once on my trail camera. I got my trail camera just on the tree stump just down under the bank there. I've got my PAR sensor here pointing towards the rock. Camera's there. Flash is up under the bank. You can just see it tucked up under the bank there. And let's give that a go. That's the view from the camera. And if we can get something on that rock, I'll be more than a little bit pleased, I'll be honest with you. And I don't think I'll be setting up here again. It's been an absolute nightmare trying to set this spot up here. It's slippery, it's steep, but there you go, no pain, no gain, eh? So I'll leave that now until next week. I'll be back in a few days' time and just have a look, see if we've captured anything. So I'll catch up with you then. Right, back after the weekend, and all I've had over the weekend is a squirrel and a jay. But at least I know the setup's working. Now, when I set this up just before the weekend, the weather forecast was to stay settled. And then when I got home, I just had a quick look on the weather forecast and it had changed. And it's over 2 hour round trip back and to here. It's 70 miles. And so I was a bit jittery over the weekend, keeping everything crossed that we weren't going to get any rain and all my gear was going to get washed away. So what I've done, I've got quite an expensive lens on here, and I don't think I want to risk it down here, so I brought a cheaper lens with me. So I'm going to swap it. The picture quality is good on it, so I'm not prepared to risk my more expensive lens. So I'm going to switch them around, set it all back up, test it's all working, and we'll just leave it run, and maybe come and take it down if there's any threat of any serious rain. So I'll leave it there, and hopefully in a few days or whatever, we'll have something a bit more interesting to show you apart from squirrels. So I'll see you soon. We've had the otters here. Some success at last. I'm not sure how good a photo it is, but I'll have to get it on the computer back at home to find out. But at last. Now, I've had this set up here for 4-5 weeks, just over a month. And I came to check up on it 2 weeks ago, and I checked the trail camera footage, and I was absolutely gutted to see that there'd been a family of 3 otters right in front of the camera trap. The sensor, if you remember, I had it set up just on the side, and it was literally 6 feet at the most away from the rock where I was hoping to get the otters on. And for some reason there was a family of 3 of them here, and it never fired. It didn't trigger the PIR sensor. Now, whether it's because they had wet fur, I have heard people in the past having trouble. But there was somebody in Canada a year or 2 back trying to camera trapping beavers, and he was getting a lot of trouble to get the PIR sensor to trigger with the beavers, due to the wet coat, I suppose, the wet fur. So I was, like I say, I was gutted when I saw this family of otters right where I wanted them, and the camera trap never fired. So what I've done, I made a few modifications. I moved the PIR sensor just a few, maybe 2 foot, that's all, a little closer, and I upped the sensitivity. I was already quite high. I was from about 10 o'clock on the sensitivity dial. I just nudged it up to about 11 o'clock, and I left it at that. And finally now I've come back, and the otter's been, and it's all fired, and I'm absolutely over the moon. I couldn't have asked for a better outcome. I've had quite a bit of bad luck with this setup. When I first set it up, as you know, my camera went head first into the river, my camera housing. And then I had these otters, this family of otters come through right on cue, and the camera trap didn't fire. And now I've come back a couple of weeks later, and I've got a couple of images of the otter. I don't know how good they are. We've had a spell of about 4 or 5 weeks of really nice weather, and I've been lucky in that department, because I haven't had to come and get the equipment away because of the floods, any floods. So the weather is set to break in about 4 days time. So I'm going to leave this set up now for a few more days, and just see if I can get any more images if anything else passes through. I have been picking up a heron quite regularly on the trail camera, and also there's been a couple of flashy little male mandarin ducks once or twice I've seen on the trail camera too. And then fingers crossed, you never know, maybe I'll get a late visit from the pine martin too before I have to take the setup down. It's nice to know when things come together. Sometimes you go through on some setups, it's just a struggle from start to finish, and this has been one of them. And it's just so nice to get a reward from it in the end. So it keeps you coming back for more. So anyway, like I say, we'll leave it a few more days now, and we'll come and take it away before the weather comes in, the bad weather comes in. So I'll catch you maybe in a few days with even better photos. So I'll see you then. I returned a few days later to take the setup down before the rain set in, and sure enough, on the penultimate night of the setup, the pine martin had visited. I only managed a little image of him, just his face in the bottom of the frame, but after seeing this, if we get a little spell of settled weather in the future, then there's a good chance that I'll be setting back up here again, despite me saying earlier in the video that I wouldn't. So that's it. I'll leave you with the best of the images I've had from the last 5 weeks from this setup, and I'll just say thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again on the next one. That was close.